Welcome to Maine Voices Livestream. Before we begin, some messages from our sponsors.
Along the river's edge, there's a special place where concrete gives way to water and trails. A place for nurturing and healing, where advanced medicine and compassionate people come together. Introducing the new Northern Light Mercy Hospital, offering more services in one convenient location and the same care we started with, that's accessible to all. Because Maine made us devoted to the health of our entire community.
The Portland area's trusted choice for senior living, Stroudwater Lodge, gives Maine seniors independence and families peace of mind. Residents enjoy chef-prepared meals, unique programming like beer brewing or classes led by local artists, along with all the maintenance-free benefits of community living. With their sister community, Avita, specializing in memory care on the same campus, Maine families have a wide variety of care options in a beautiful wooded setting, yet minutes from downtown Portland. To learn more, visit StroudwaterLodge.com.
And now we'll turn things over to Lisa DeSisto.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Maine Voices Live. I'm Lisa DeSisto. I'm the CEO and publisher of the Portland Press Herald. It's great to have everybody checking in and letting us know where you're joining us from tonight. We are thrilled to have the indie folk duo, the Ballroom Thieves, with us tonight. I know our music writer, Aimsel, I was just with her in the virtual green room. She's jumping out of her skin to get into this conversation with musical performances tonight. So as you may know, the Ballroom Thieves make up our national touring act, and earlier this year they released the album Clouds and played on the main stage at the storied Newport Folk Festival. Now, before I turn it over to Aimsel, I just wanted to take a moment again to thank our series sponsors, Stroudwater Lodge, Hub Furniture, and our presenting sponsor, Northern Light Health. This event and the journalism that we produce every day is made possible by our sponsors, advertisers, and by you, our readers. And I wanted to remind you, now is the time to give the gift of knowledge, insight, and crosswords with the gift of the Portland Press Herald. If you look in the chat, you can see information on all the different programs we're offering this holiday season, or you can go to pressherald.com/gift. So without further ado, and I thank you again for joining us tonight and supporting our work, I turned it over to Aimsel and the Ballroom Thieves.
Well, hey, good evening. I'm so psyched to be here. I'm such a hardcore fan of Martin and Callie, the Ballroom Thieves. And I was right up front at the Newport Folk Festival this summer, seeing them do their thing, work their magic. Clouds is a lovely record. And before I even do anything else, let me just say, if you have questions, we're going to have a little Q&A thing at the end. A few people have already sent in questions in the chat window. you can put in questions, but maybe you should wait. Let's put a pin in that, because otherwise we'll be scrolling up and I'll get all confused. So I'll remind you about a half an hour. If you have any burning questions for the end, we're going to get to that. But before anything else, I'm dying to hear a song. Dying, because I love this band so much. So Callie, Martin, welcome. Say hello, and what do you got for us for a song?
Well, hi.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Great to see you virtually.
So great to see you. Always so great to see you. You're so you make me smile.
I wish I had your glasses too.
Yeah.
That's maybe we should talk about that later.
A place at the mall. I'll tell you later.
Yeah, at the Maine Mall.
That's the one.
Yeah, the only one, not the Bangor Mall.
The only one. All right. Well, we'd love to play a song. We're going to play Shadow off of Clouds.
Yeah, it's a nice little ditty. It's about learning how to live with your depression. Just starting things off really with a really fun vibe.
Super cheery.
There's a shadow falling around me, hiding in the light of day. I don't know how it found me, but it knows me in a wicked way. Drives me like a Chevrolet. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Now my voice doesn't sound like it used to when the world was just a one-horse town. Maybe that's an excuse to keep me guarded while I run around, so I never live it down. Dissolve before I drown. But the days got short and the nights wore on. Words came out, but they all felt wrong. I didn't know it, but I needed it all along. Pain is just a part of me. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, these days I feel like a stranger, wear my laughter like a bad disguise. Oh, but everybody knows I'm in danger. They can see it in my eyes, in the harsh light of surprise, when the tenderness subsides. Maybe I was born when this past me died, so the songs I sing never sound like mine. I didn't know it, but I needed it every time. The pain is just a part of me. There's a shadow falling around me, hiding in the light of day. I don't know how it found me, but it knows me in a wicked way.
Thank you so much for that. I thought the highlight of the day was when the men's U.S. soccer team beat Iran in the World Cup, but no, this was, you far eclipsed that. So thank you for that. The whole Clouds album is so lovely, and I read what you wrote about it. I mean, what I want to get into, we're going to talk about something depressing, and then we'll go to happier places like the land of Harry Styles shortly.
Perfect.
I think about the pandemic, and I think about when you released Unlovely, your record in 2020, another stellar record, viewers out there. But during lockdown, and you missed touring so much, and everything was so hard. I want to hear from both of you kind of briefly. Was there like a day, or was there a moment or a stretch of time where you're like, okay, what is happening? Our whole livelihood is on hold right now. Like, how dark did it get? I guess is what I'm getting at.
It definitely got dark. It got dark fast too. I think right away for both of us, we had a feeling it wouldn't be very short, this break. And I think I, for one, jumped to the worst possible conclusion. And I did do that. And it kind of ended up being exactly what I thought it would be, like the worst case scenario. So now, now I trust my worst case scenario jumping. So that's dangerous. But
Sure.
yeah, I mean, we were nervous immediately, and we spiraled down for months watching news. We were completely unproductive. We wrote nothing, and we thought only of what was happening and what would happen to our jobs, and if anyone would want us to play again, or if there would ever be a market for that again. It was dark.
Yeah, I think one of the things that caused me to go to start spiraling a little bit more than I did in the beginning was that I didn't connect with the Zoom shows. I couldn't get into that as a replacement for a live show. And I know that it really wasn't ever a replacement. It was just like all we had and, all we could do. But I just felt every time we did one, I went into it with some optimism, and I came out of it just depressed because there was no back and forth between the audience and us. And there was no response to any of the songs or any of the banter. And it was just, the comments were great. And it was, I really appreciated everyone who spent time and, spent like gave us money and donated things and even just spent their evenings with us. But in the end, it was really hard for me to come out of those feeling okay, because I felt so despondent about it.
Sure. Understandably so.
Yeah, it was weird. And then it didn't really spiral back up again until we stopped watching the news completely. And this was obviously during the years of He Who Shall Not Be Named. But, this was a really dark time on the news. And it was just like seeing the death counts every day and seeing what was going on in the world was so harrowing that we had to shut it out in order to get back into some sort of creativity. And at least
that's what I was going to ask you is at some point something must have shifted, and it seems like you came to the realization that acknowledging, or not even acknowledging, living in the darkness of COVID-19 and a global pandemic was not necessarily mutually exclusive, even though you went through a spell where you couldn't write a song to save your life. What do you think shifted inside of both of you that enabled you to write the Clouds record and make that record?
For me, it was a pretty direct moment. It was our manager, Eric Jones, who lives in Portland, Maine.
Yeah.
He, at one point, we got on the phone, and he just said, "You know what? You have to put Unlovely, our previous record, you have to put it behind you. It's done. It's not going to ever get the recognition or the time or the whatever energy that it deserves from anyone. It's going to exist online, and that's it. And, we have to move forward. Now's the time to start putting your energy into writing." And that was unexpected for me, because I was still holding on to that album. I still was so proud of it. And I still thought we would get back out there somehow, and we would get to keep playing those songs and get to keep working on that and promoting that album. And yeah, he really put a stop to that kind of thinking. So it was almost like
Thank you, Eric. You'll get a Christmas card this year.
Yeah,
it was the kind of straightforwardness we needed.
Yeah.
You needed somebody to say, okay, like, you gotta just, like First Aid Kit sings, keep on keeping on. And thankfully, and again, Clouds is mid-July is when it came out. Is that right?
Yeah.
If folks out there haven't heard it, just, what, now's the time. It's a holiday season. You got to buy stuff for yourself as well. And I feel like there's a lot of other things I want to ask you about, like the State Theater show, etc. But I'm getting itchy for another song. What do you, too soon, or what are you feeling it?
We'll do another. We'd love to.
All right,
Sure.
cool. Because we only have an
Sure.
hour for this whole thing, so let's,
Come on, we can relax.
yeah, we can relax. It's all
I
good.
hope everyone is in their pajamas. We are in sweatpants. Everyone should be cozy.
It's criminally cozy here. There's actually a fire going in the living room fireplace. It's
It's
prime
cozy
coziness.
season.
Yep.
Finally.
Nice.
By the way, we're coming from the mid coast of Maine, and so it's nice to see the comments of everyone, seeing where everyone is across the state. And we're really proud to be residents of Maine, and we feel just a great community here in the state. And we're excited to be a part of it. And we know that Maine, especially getting into the winter, is not the easiest place to be, but we love it. So it's nice to see where everyone's coming from.
What are we doing?
Borderline.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
I left home in the evening, and I came home in the morning all the same. I mean, I saw two hands that move, but that's the only proof that anything was changing. I heard that love is only an illusion for the masochists and martyrs. So I went driving for a song, but it all took too long. Now I'm treading water. All alone on the borderline, running fast not to fall behind. I have a body, but I can't call it mine. I still do from time to time. Now all the moments look like photographs I took, but didn't feel the need to say. No one cares to call my number, no one dares to pull me under anyway. Some say that life is only what you manifest, and I'm not the best, and I don't know much about it. Still I can see anxiety will be the death of me, but I worry over who I would or wouldn't be without it. All alone on the borderline, running fast not to fall behind. I have a body, but I can't call it mine. I still do from time to time. I still do from time to time.
I mean, see, people, why I'm a big fan. I've been a fan of yours for, I was thinking about it earlier and I was prepping for this, for like a gazillion years. I think
Yeah.
kind of like since I first became aware of you, which is
1788 was the year that we met. Yeah.
Yeah.
1788.
Sounds
1780. Yeah, that sounds
89.
actually rightish. Let me ask you this: you were originally in Boston, and then you wound up in the mid coast of Maine. How did you wind up in Maine? I mean, we're delighted to have you, and we hope you never leave. I speak for the entire state. But how'd you wind up here?
So I grew up in Maine. I went to high school and middle school up in near Bangor, Maine, Winterport, small little town right on the Penobscot. And yeah, I went to high school up there. And then after high school, like many high schoolers in the state of Maine, I wanted nothing to do with the place where I grew up. I think that maybe holds true for people in other states too, but I just wanted to get out and do something different. So I went to school outside of Boston. I didn't make it very far. But so then after college, we were living in Boston and we were starting the band. And when Callie and I decided, A, that it was way too expensive to live in Boston on a musician's lack of a salary, and B, that we needed to kind of figure out where we were going to settle down for the time being, Maine was immediately the best place for us. A, it was reasonably affordable back then, but also it's just such a beautiful place in terms of the natural world. And the people around here are just so friendly and welcoming, at least to people, people who want to be here. And so we also at the time were touring a lot. And so all we wanted was a quiet place to come back to at the end of a tour, and so we could kind of disappear into the woods, so to speak. And so that's why we ended up here in the mid-coast of Maine. And yeah, what we didn't really plan for was to, end up just stuck at home for 3 years during a pandemic. We didn't wasn't quite the plan.
We're really hidden away, so
right.
We missed people.
Why don't you just admit you wanted to just be within striking distance of the flagship Rennie's store? I mean, that's the real reason.
Yeah,
we all know it.
Yeah.
If people aren't abundantly clear on this fact, Ballroom Thieves are headlining the State Theater on Friday, December 9th, and we actually are going to give away a pair of tickets. If you're on this Zoom, you're registered. You don't have to do anything else. We'll tell you who wins at the end. And Griffin from, I guess, formerly of Ghost of Paul Revere is actually opening the show. Will it be a duo show, or do you have anybody else with you?
We'll have our full band. We have Kevin O'Connell on drums, and John Nolan on synth and guitar.
Great.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, Callie plays cello and bass, both incredibly well. So this is gonna be a whole big deal concert, and with Griffin opening, very, very, very excited. We're going to give away tickets, so just hold on to your hats for that one. I think it's Harry Styles. I think it's time to talk about Harry Styles.
Oh, please.
So there's a song. It's a real trippy song. Has a real kind of psychedelic something going on there. Called Harry Styles on the Clowns album. And did you write it together, or did who?
Kind of. Martin.
The love letter to Harry Styles, by the way, essentially, and it's basically you both acknowledging.
Oh, we love him. We love him.
Yeah.
I started it out because Callie was sitting at our wood stove, and she just looked up at me and just said, "I think I'm in love with Harry Styles." And my first thought, we weren't married at the time, so be that what it is, but my first thought wasn't like jealousy for, it wasn't like I'm jealous that she is in love with another man. It was, I'm jealous that it's him because I am also in love with him. I have this affinity for him, and I feel like he's such a great role model that I almost felt like you can't have him too,
Harry Styles is for everyone.
That's what
he kind of is. Let's face facts. I don't even know what he sings, but the guy is just tremendous.
Yeah.
I don't know what
where we arrived.
Except for the song he does with Lucius. That one I love. I just, not to give you career advice, but I strongly suggest that on your next record, you actually write a song called Taylor Swift, just because it just seems like that would be the next natural progression.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, because I mean, also, who doesn't love Taylor Swift?
Exactly.
Ticketmaster disaster aside, which is not really your fault. I digress. All right. So, have you, since you put out the record, now I know you're doing you're basically on tour like nowish. You've got several East Coast-ish dates. Is this your first string of dates since lockdown? Or have you done some? I know you did Newport, or have you done? Refresh my tattered memory. Have you done any semblance of a tour
Yeah,
since lockdown?
thankfully we went on a spring tour
Okay, that's great.
to the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
We toured not really too much in the summer. We played some shows, but it wasn't really a real tour.
Yeah.
And in the early fall, we went on a Midwest and Southeast run. And now we're gonna finish up the year in our hometown little circle.
That's so great. So
Very
what I'm
excited.
what I'm
Really
getting
fun.
at is, we've spoke earlier about how hellacious it was with lockdown and not being able to tour. And you've shared on your website, like talking about how much you missed it and what it meant to you and all that kind of stuff. When you got back out on the road, and there you are in your van or however you guys get around, what felt familiar and what felt different? Like what felt good and bad? Like what had changed? What felt the same? I'm just real curious about that.
For me, the mundane parts of touring felt great. Like the loading in and loading out and just the sound check and setting up my gear again and hearing the speakers and all of these, the kind of beer soaked floors of a rock club and the green room with all the graffiti on the walls and other bands who have drawn genitals everywhere. Those are the parts. It's a thing. Those are the parts that felt really great to me, that that felt better than I remembered them, because I just hadn't had them. And then the parts that didn't feel so good were all kind of pandemic related, I think, because it was really difficult, especially at first, to tour and stay COVID free, because if anyone in the touring party contracted COVID, all the shows for the next 2 or 3 weeks would be canceled. And so it was really paramount to make sure that everyone was safe, which eliminates like 50% of the fun parts of tour, like going out to eat or going out to a bar before the show or after the show, or hanging out with your family and friends that you met in each town, or all of those things were kind of off the table because we just couldn't risk contaminating anyone. And that was really difficult. And then the other part that's still difficult is just that for many different reasons, ticket sales have been really difficult and unpredictable. And we can get into why that is. I think there's multiple reasons, between a lot of competition and a lot of different bands getting out on the road, and people having a tough time economically, and not really having the disposable income, or being burned by previous shows that they bought tickets to, and then the shows have been canceled and that kind of thing. But that has been tough on us, because we just have to plan a lot more, and things are a lot more uncertain when we go out on the road, at least relatively, than they were before the pandemic. So
I can only imagine. Callie, do you have anything you want to share about getting back on the road? And
I think Martin covered most of what I think. It's the mundane parts we didn't forget how to do. And it was we didn't think we forgot, but it was fun to get back on the road and realize I still know how to pack really well for tour. And I still know how to quickly load in and set up my things, and I know where everything goes, and I know what to do in the green room and how to pack up the food at the end of the night. And so it was nice to just do what we do again. But the COVID requirements to keep safe are definitely the hardest part. It takes all the fun out.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time for me to wave the song wand. How about, yes, this is my song wand. People make fun of it if you must, but it is. I may have just made that up, but you know, I'm feeling like, are you feeling a song coming on? I kind of am.
Coming on.
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's
right
happening.
We'll do a cover.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, this is an M. Ward song. I sailed a wild, wild sea, climbed up a tall, tall mountain. I met an old man beneath a weeping willow tree. He said, now if you got some questions, go and lay them at my feet. But my time here's brief, so you'll have to pick just 3. And I said, what do you do with the pieces of a broken heart? And how can a man like me remain in the light? If life is really as short as they say, then why is the night so long? Then the sun went down and sang for me this song. See, I once was a young fool like you, afraid to do the things that I knew I had to do. So I played an escapade just like you. Played an escapade just like you. I sailed a wild, wild sea, climbed up a tall, tall mountain. I met an old man beneath a sapling tree. He said, now if you got some questions, go and lay them at my feet. But my time here's brief, so you'll have to pick just 3. And I said, what do you do with the pieces of a broken heart? And how can a man like me remain in the light? If life is really as short as they say, then why is the night so long? Then the sun went down and he sang for me this song. And the sun went down and he sang for me this song.
Bravo. I love that. Am I muted? No, I'm good. Wow, I love that. Now, speaking of covers, now I don't mean to get controversial on you out of left field, but your show is on December 9th. Where do the Ballroom Thieves stand as far as like holiday music situation of any sort? Because I feel like you could bust out a really righteous Blue Christmas, for example. I'm just saying.
That's a good idea. Yeah, we might have to consider that. We released a Christmas song that we wrote during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of weird, but we did it.
Oh.
We wrote this weird little thing. We released it. And every year around now, it climbs up and it shows up in our top 5 songs on Spotify.
You know what? I just checked my massive my holiday playlist, and you know what? That's on there. So I guess I do know the song. Well, I just think a sad one like Blue Christmas or even worse, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas is just the saddest Christmas song I've ever heard in my life. You know, I think you could just crush the heck out of that.
I like the DMX version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh yeah. Die Hard Christmas movie, yes or no?
In my opinion, yeah.
Hard
If
yes.
people think it is, then it just is, you know? It's just one of those.
I just put that right out there. All right. So you've heard it here. Die Hard is indeed, and I agree with Martin, a Christmas movie. Now, where are we? Oh, you know, through the years, I've met you guys a bunch of times. We've hung out. I've interviewed you. I've written about you a whole bunch. I play you on my radio show. I'm like a full-fledged everything. I cover all the bases. But I don't think I've ever asked you how you got the name the Ballroom Thieves. So here and now, during Maine Voices Live, could you please share that?
Yeah. The story is really not that great, to be honest. So about 11 years ago, I was hanging out at Newport Folk Festival. I used to go every year as an audience member with my best friend Max and his girlfriend, now wife, Marissa. And every year we would, get tickets as soon as they went on sale. And as soon as we got there, we would put our blankets out at the main stage, and we would smuggle in booze, which it was frowned upon, but we would have to, at the time they were checking all the water bottles and everything for booze. And so we would put our alcohol in sunscreen bottles that we had cleaned out.
Can you believe
insufficiently.
it?
Especially if you have coconut rum in your sunscreen. I mean, it's like not that much of a stretch. Yeah.
Was it delicious? Was it worth it?
It was, I would say it was not delicious, but it was worth it. Yeah. So I remember at the time we were looking for a band name, and at the time I was watching Dawes play on the main stage, and it was my first time seeing them, and they were playing the song When My Time Comes. And I just thought about, for some reason, I was thinking about these fancy balls in the 1800s that, not get your head out of the gutter, where these thieves would show up and would steal stuff from all the rich people. And I had heard about this story of a woman who had fake arms that she would put crossed in front of her, and then she would use her real arms, underneath the big coats to try to just steal pocket watches and whatever from these fancy rich people. And something about that just really spoke to me. And so I thought, why not Ballroom Thieves? And honestly, if I could rename our band now, I would.
Really? First of all, that story was fabulous. So I don't know why you thought that was boring. That was awesome. And I love the name Ballroom Thieves.
Thanks.
Callie, good band name, yeah?
It's fine.
It's fun.
No, you know what? It's like
Listen
when
to
you
you people.
have something for so long, you start kind of thinking about what else could be,
But what was that? There was a band, an Americana band, Jubilee. Was it Enter the Hat? There was somebody, they changed their name, and it was a disaster. And I think they had to go back to their original name because it caused so much confusion. So you're stuck with Ballroom Thieves, and I, for one, love it. Your fans love it, so we're all just going to work together, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
How many times have you played? It's a two-parter. How many times have you played Newport Folk Festival? And was this summer your first time on the main stage?
This was our first time on the main stage. We have played Newport one other time on a stage, and we have been lucky enough to be invited to the festival, where each year we get to jump on stage with other people playing.
Oh yeah.
Two other times on a stage. One of them was a museum stage thing. We were asked to curate kind of a 3-hour set on the museum stage, and so we brought our friends Ryan Montbleu and Tall Heights with us for that.
Perfect.
It was a doozy, 3 hours.
Yeah, that was tough and for.
Yeah.
But
It gets hot in there too. That's a hot building. It can be.
It was very warm.
But now we have at least played on every stage at Newport. We haven't had a proper full set on each stage, but we have played on each stage. And so
I mean, you played on the same stage that Joni Mitchell graced this summer. So I mean, that's in and of itself is a pretty big honor. And I was there, and people loved you. I mean, folks out there, they live in Maine, so you might think they're a local act. And technically, I mean, yeah, you could say that because they live in Maine and we're in Maine. But I can't emphasize enough, like a lot of people know who the Ballroom Thieves are. They have 1.2 monthly listeners on Spotify. I know that's just like one little tiny nugget of information, but this band is they might not tell you, but I'm telling you, they're a big deal. And so this was like we're pretty psyched. I was pretty psyched when Eric and you all agreed to participate in this Maine Voices Live.
We would
All right.
never talking to you.
We'll do anything that you're
We'll do
involved
anything
with.
for you.
Oh, well, that's very kind. And I'm still hoping that your dog Bagel will show his face at
me
some
too.
point before we wind things down. But let's see, it's 20 of 8. I think, why don't you do one more song, and then I got a couple questions that have come in. And if people are watching, if you're out there, like, please put in questions in the chat. Now is a great time, and I have a few that were sent in early. But yeah, we'd love to hear one more song.
What do you want to do?
Let's do bartering, right?
Yeah.
Or shine.
No.
Veto that one.
Veto.
You want to call Bagel?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Just
I
gonna
mean,
go
band dogs are their own thing, so we just need to see Bagel. You gotta trust me on this.
Yeah, he's a star.
State Theater, y'all. December 9th. That is going to be a great show, so grab your tickets.
It's going to be really fun, and we're excited to play with our friend Griffin from the Ghost of Paul Revere, who has a new band together, and it's going to be a raucous time.
Great. Hello there.
It
Band
is.
Dog Bagel.
Erlin? Oh no.
Hey, Mary Maxwell, you have won the Thieves tickets. Congratulations. Strawberry from the Press Herald will be reaching out to get that all squared away. So Mary Maxwell, thank you for coming to the thing, and you've won yourself a pair of tickets to the big show. And would you look at that cute dog? Oh my goodness. Now is Bagel going to stay right there while you sing, Callie?
I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
I hope so too. All right, take it away.
Bagel hates the Ballroom Thieves. It's very judgy. Burning the evening's last fuel on my own head like a waltz and my heart like a stone. You said we both find a way to get by. Now I'm not quite sure where your allegiances lie. Was it always part of the plan? Did you think I'd turn into a better man? And did you lift me up just to watch me come back down? I'm behind, but I'm making up ground. Lazy and love struck, I'm foolish and old, bartering dreams for the feelings I've sown. And now that all of our fire is gone, there is liquor and love, not enough for each one. Was it always part of the plan? Did you think I'd turn into a better man? And did you lift me up just to watch me come back down? I'm behind, but I'm making up ground. Oh, Bagel.
Nice, very nice. And so well behaved, Mr. Bagel. Very good boy. Cookies for you later. Absolutely.
Nice
Um,
job.
let's jump in. We have a few minutes left. Let's gonna jump in. I'm gonna hit you with a couple questions from people who sent them in early. So from Marion, has it been difficult? It's kind of a two-parter. Has it been difficult to promote your music since moving to Maine, or does being from a rural state with a small population add intrigue to your band story? And also, does being a married couple also add some intrigue?
I think moving to Maine has definitely not made it more difficult to promote our music. I think one of the great things about Maine is that it's got a very loyal music following, especially with bands that are from Maine. And so you see that with the reception that bands like the Ghost of Paul Revere or the Mallet Brothers get whenever they play anywhere in Maine. And so Maine really loves the fact that there are Maine musicians, and bands like Spose, and there's so many others that are so great. So that has been a really fun part of living in this state. And then traveling from here is also fun. So that's been nice. I think being a married couple is interesting. I think it's never been part of what we, how we promote our music or anything. But as we lean into it a little bit, we've noticed that people are excited for us, and that's been really nice.
I mean, you're still fairly newlyweds. Was it only within the last 6 months or within a year? When did you get married?
September.
Yeah. All right. So super newlyweds. All right.
Yeah.
Great. I just wanted to quick mention, while I have a captive audience, I put this in the chat, but next week it's our final Maine Voices Live of the year. Eric Russell, my buddy, and our arts writer, Eric Russell, sits down with the author Morgan Talty. That's next Tuesday night, December 13th at 7 p.m. It's free, like all of our Maine Voices Live. And I put a link to register in the chat. And as you know, because you registered for this tier, people, it only takes 2 seconds. So put the word out on that December 6th, I'm being told, because I'm jumping ahead. I'm looking at my OD dog calendar and I'm looking at the wrong week. December 6th. I knew that, just seeing if you're all paying attention. All right. Sorry, Strawberry. I know I probably just gave you a small heart attack. It's what I do. All right. Let's see what else. Oh, all right. We covered how did the get to the name of the group? We covered that. Oh, all right. What musicians have inspired you? I know it's get asked a lot, but I love to hear like what I'm going to add to that. Like, what did you grow up listening to? Who are your musical heroes? Is anyone that you'd love to collaborate? I'd love to hear from both of you. And if Bagel wants to add anything, he can have the floor as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the first name that popped into my head this round of this question was Paul Simon. I just love pretty much every single song he writes, and I love the way he writes. I love his music, just everything. So that would be a wild dream collaboration, but mostly I just want to be him, I grew up listening to James Taylor and Steely Dan and tons of classical music because I was in orchestras and not cool. And I listened to a lot of show tunes, musicals, and classical music instead of like in sync. And that has hurt me over the years. Now I don't know any in sync songs, and I don't know when something's Backstreet Boys or in sync, and it's very embarrassing. But
and in orchestras playing, you started cello as how old were you when you started playing cello?
I was 10.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
I know every Backstreet Boys and NSYNC song and who does which one. So
that's why I married him.
Just
actually.
Yeah.
I mean, that's handy to have in the family for a trivia night type of situation.
Yeah.
Right. You need one.
Yeah.
And Backstreet Boys would be a really great collaboration. But I grew up I've been inspired a lot by Tom Petty, John Prine, Paul Simon also, Bob Dylan. is kind of like an obvious one. I feel like everyone who is a folk singer at some point listened to Bob Dylan. So Joni Mitchell, and then just like our contemporaries and our friends. And so bands like Ghost of Paul Revere and Darling Side and Tall Heights and you know, the bands that we've kind of grown up with and looked up to, like Bahamas or Dawes or Raylan Baxter, and just people whose music we really enjoy. So
Everybody's so good.
Everyone's good. And then hip hop too. I'm a big hip hop fan. So Kendrick Lamar and Eminem and yeah, there's too many to name.
Great. Yeah, great. Martin, who's your dream collaboration? Because Callie's is Paul Simon. Like, who's your, just if you had, you know, sky's the limit. It'd actually be somebody dead or alive, just to even add to it.
Oof.
Gotta repick.
Yeah, then it would be Petty.
Yeah.
Just to and not just to play a song with, but to like write a song with him, or just sit there while he writes a song in like 12 minutes, and yeah, that would be fun too.
Changing lanes, we've been asked by Dina, would like to know more, you know, and I'm with Dina, I'm with you on this, wants to know more about Bagel and how Bagel got his name.
Bagel
This is behind the music right here, people. We're going deep.
This is the music.
This is the important stuff.
This is it. A full inspiration of our life. We were very sad and bored in 2020. And so we decided to foster dogs. And the first dog that came to us was really scary and out of control. And we tried to do this thing. So we tried to see it through. And he would like be biting our ankles and our furniture, and we had to wear boots in the house. And it was just like, it was a disaster. At one point we lost power at home. There was a big storm and we were without power for 3 days, just like us and this dog. And it was terrible. And we ultimately had to give him to a different foster person who could handle him. And the next dog that came to us was Bagel. And we were looking for a dog to adopt, but we had said, let's foster, let's see what it's like to have a dog.
Yeah.
And we don't want to get a beagle. We'll get anything but a beagle because they are runners and they follow their nose and they're very loud and ridiculous. And then Beagle walked into our lives. His name was Milo at the time. And he kind of adopted us and we had to keep him. And it was a love story.
And you're just being cute, Bagel the Beagle.
Yeah.
Well, his name
kind of,
like one of there's two reasons why his name's Bagel. One is that when he's cold, when he curls up really tightly into this like round bagel. And then the other reason was like one of my big hobbies during the pandemic. I got really into baking bagels. So before we adopted him, I got really into like making small batches of bagels and trying to perfect this bagel recipe that I was working on. And so that all kind of happened at the same time. And so Bagel just
amazing.
It just fit his personality so well. He's a jokester.
Amazing. Now I got another question from somebody watching. Do you still play your fabulous songs from A Wolf in the Doorway? Love this new sound and love those intense howlers from the past too.
We do, yeah. And if you come to the State Theater show, you'll see that we still play those songs, and we have kind of upgraded them to match the vibe of the band now. And so songs like Wolf and what else do we play from that record? There's a couple. So like Wild Woman.
Yeah,
there's a few songs still on there that we really love and that we still play live all the time.
Great.
Some of those songs really depended on the 3-part harmony.
Yeah.
And we have tried to do them again, but sometimes things belong in the time they emerged in. And I think that might be the case for at least a handful of those.
Fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, absolutely fair enough. Oh, this is an interesting one from Cynthia. What suggestions would you have for a married musical duo? What do you got? Any pro tips?
What else do we have here? Is it like trying to be on the road? Trying to, because we have tour tips, married duo tips.
I mean, we haven't been married very long, so maybe we're not the
All right. Well, you know, in 2 years from now, we're gonna revisit this
Yeah.
whole thing and
I would
figure out
say-
where it all went so horribly wrong and what worked really well.
Yeah.
I would say we're, try to listen to each other as much as possible when it comes to songwriting. And that's, I guess, a tip that works in general in life. But when you're one thing that's difficult for us is to plan time apart, because
Yeah, I
we
can imagine.
live together, we work together, we are constantly next to each other, and we really love each other. And so it's not always it's not that difficult to be near each other all the time, but it's important to have your private time and to be alone. And so yeah, we find ourselves having to actually plan specific times where we're not going to be together, and we each have to do something different.
And in terms of writing, when we do spend time apart and write, we come back together with even more, and then the other person can have opinions and a fresh look on the other person's song, and I think we get a lot more done, and there's probably more creativity. So you don't have to.
Oh, I love that. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Now, I can
Yeah.
only assume that every once in a while, Bagel's like, you know what? Can somebody just drop me off at the main mall and give me $40 and come back in a couple hours?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
wanna
grab
hear
some
this right now.
sweet glasses and I'll be right back.
Exactly, at the main. That is amazing. Well, we're just about out of time. I want to remind everybody again, December 9th, the Ballroom Thieves at the State Theater. Have you played the State Theater before?
We've
I've
never
seen
had.
you at Port City.
Yeah.
We did a New Year's Eve show years ago with Ghost of Paul Revere. It was their headline show, and
Okay.
Lady Lamb was on it, and we opened the show. So, and then we've done the live
That's a
stream,
triple bill. Wow.
but that's about it.
We're
Yeah.
very excited.
Yeah, and between now and then, you're zipping all around. So good luck with the tour, and thank you so very much for taking the time. You didn't have to do this, and we're so glad you did. So Callie and Martin, and just just think about what sad holiday song you're going to play for me, because I most certainly will be coming to that show. Everyone, buy tickets now. You buy them now, only $20. So, and I feel like that's a bargain for a State Theater show. And you've got Griffin from Ghost of Paul Revere doing his solo thing now, and I guess he's got a cool band with him. They're probably going to be, if I know anything, he's got some Crackerjack stellar band lined up, so that'll be great. So definitely try not to dilly dally too much and get there, in time, 8 o'clock. And with whatever happens next, just you keep doing your thing. You've got a really special sound. I'm a huge fan, and there's other big fans on the Zoom with us. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And
Sure.
on behalf of everyone here at the Press Herald, thank you again for doing this. This was awesome, and to hear you
so much
play was
for
awesome.
Yeah.
All
Thanks.
right. So everyone, we're gonna call it a night. 7:57. I'm gonna go to put a log on. They're gonna go give Bagel a smooch, and we're gonna all hang out at the State Theater in like a week and a half. We're there. So if you see me, come say hi. And we're just gonna hang out and nerd out and sing along, and it's gonna be awesome. Right?
Wait.
All right, cool. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. I wish you all a good night.